Once you retrieve the whetstone, please take utmost care while handling it. It... is a priceless relic, after all.
Wait for me! That dragon, that's Baldur's, isn't it?
Yes.
And you brought it down to save me?
It was very heroic. If I'm not mistaken, we've yet to discuss the tale of the giant Bergelmir.
Oh yeah, I remember his shrine. It looked happier than the other ones, mostly.
It begins in an ocean of blood. And we'll pick this up later.
My men are...
That's right. We killed... we laid them all to rest.
I see. So even in death, I am a failure. But in life you were honorable, strong-willed, and you inspired loyalty. These are good qualities, aren't they, boy?
Yeah. I couldn't believe how many men followed you here.
Aye, for your kind words. May your journey have a more pleasant end than mine.
Well, you're right. You didn't seem very satisfied. I guess you never really get over losing ones you care about.
Never.
What is this for me?
An offering to one of the gods.
Can we use it?
No, but perhaps the dwarves can.
Impressive!
Mimir, you were in the middle of a story before.
Was I? Oh, yes! The tale of Bergelmir begins in an ocean of blood.
Finally, a story worth hearing.
If you remember, Ymir, the first giant, was fatally stabbed by Odin. It's in his blood our story starts. Ymir's magical guts poured out in a torrent so violent it threatened to flood all of creation. The Jotnar were unprepared, as the very last of them were washed away in the endless tide. Not just Ymir, but all of giant kind faced extinction. And so would Odin's victory have been complete. But Ymir's kind did not all perish that day. Staying afloat in the hollowed husk of a tree, the frost giant Bergelmir endured, as did his lady wife. For weeks they sailed, until finally they came upon a new land. They called it Jotunheim. And there they would start anew. As father and mother they would multiply exceedingly, and as king and queen they worked to make Jotunheim a land where giants would know no master but themselves. Bergelmir never sought revenge for Odin's slaughter. His vengeance was to live and prosper. He died at peace, a legion of his kin to mourn him. He would ever be known as Bergelmir the Beloved.
Bergelmir the Beloved. Huh. I've never heard a story end that way. Not a true one, anyway.
You do, laddie.
Another map! found something.
Armor piece? Oh, I hope it's a new armor piece. Ah, offerings to Tyr. These are quite rare, you know.
Why?
Well, you know Odin, not the biggest fan of Tyr. I thought he destroyed all of these. Once you retrieve the whetstone, please take utmost care while handling it. It is a priceless relic, after all. Wear it in good health. What else was there?
This is it, right? The Rockstall?
Aye, lad. The Council of Valkyries.
The Valkyries are of Valhalla, are they not?
Glad to see you're paying attention, brother. You are correct. Valhalla, the great hall of the Einherjar, is their home within Asgard. But while there, they are subject to the scrutiny of the All-Father himself. And relations between the Valkyries and Odin were tense during my tenure as his advisor.
Why?
Well, that's an even longer story, lad. For now, why don't we look around for some clues? Try placing one of the Valkyrie helms on a throne.
Whoa, you're back. Amir, who is she?
Gunnar, Mistress of War. After any conflict, big or small, she would be first on the scene, sussing out the worthy spirits for a free trip to Valhalla. A gruesome task. She took great pride in it.
Any conflict. Impossible.
It's true. She had help from her sisters, of course, but Gunnar was always first to arrive. Her judgment of the fallen was unparalleled, and an invaluable resource to Odin. She was one of his favourites. This, my friends, is Kara. Now, Valkyries are volatile by nature, but Kara, the lass is wild storm personified.
A wild storm.
Aye, calm and collected. Then the air would shift and the fury of her storm would unleash. It was beautiful in a way, assuming you could find proper shelter. Her tears would cleanse the blood-soaked battlefields.
Once you retrieve the whetstone, please take utmost care while handling it. It is a priceless... relic, after all.
Atreus, to me.
Another name. Air!
Why the arcane runes? Perhaps we're meant to find something in Muspelheim and Niflheim.
Golvik's bones.
What will you say to her?
To Golvik?
Your mother. What have you left unsaid?
I guess... I just want to know if she's okay.
She is dead, boy.
I know that. You don't understand. Do it
Done.
What would you say to Mom?
Nothing.
Nothing?
There is nothing left to say.
What about everything we've done so far? That man coming to the house? Talking to the world serpent? We've done so many amazing things. I just want to tell her about them. Don't you?
What else would you say to her?
I tell her that we're both okay. Not to worry about us.
Atreus, I miss her too. You know this.
I thought I knew very little.
I see something down there.
Mimir, is there a story for the giant with the flaming sword?
Stuart the Brave? Of course. We've spoken so much of frost giants. It's about time we instead met the most fiery giant of all. You know what? I'll tell this one later. Right then, where were we? Ah yes, we were speaking of Surt the Brave, the fire giant. Back when Ymir first emerged from Ginnungagap, it was Surt who followed next. He came from Muspelheim, the fire realm, bringing heat to the young cosmos, conjuring the sun from his primordial flame. Or I can just tell you the story later. Right then, where were we? Ah yes, we were speaking of Soort the Brave, the fire giant. Well, let's come back to that flaming sword, shall we? Soort the Brave forged his sword of flame for one purpose alone: to burn down Asgard when Ragnarok comes at last. Or I can just tell you this story later,